Hi everyone, this is Vibha Kakshi, I'm the CEO and founder of ReachIvy. And today we are very pleased to have a special guest, Nicole, who's the Director of Admissions at Colombia Business School. Thank you so much, Nicole, for joining us here.
Thank you for having me.
So what brings you to India, Nicole? How come you're here and how's the trip been so far?
Yeah, so I've been in India since Saturday. I flew into Delhi to hold a session. I've been in Hyderabad and now I'm finishing off with Mumbai. What I'm doing is hosting information sessions for prospective students throughout India. We come to India 2 or 3 times a year for Colombia Business School to recruit top talent. I'm really excited to be in India. It's my first time, but so far everyone has been so fantastic and unbelievably impressive. I'm overwhelmed by how impressive the candidates are here, and I see it in the applications. I've been in Colombia for 3 years, but to meet the people and hear them with conviction talk about their excitement about what they're doing is just really, really valuable and really important.
Great, so we're happy to have you and welcome to India.
Thank you.
And as you know, like people in India love Colombia, right? It's like definitely on the list for every top candidate. So I want to understand, what is it that the school does to keep the innovation angle and the newness and freshness in the school, the curriculum? So any aspects you could share with us, that what is it that school keeps to keep this sort of brand equity so high?
Absolutely. So there are a few things that Colombia does. I would say what is most paramount to the school is that it is student-led and student-driven. So a lot of the changes and the innovations that you will see come from what students say they want. So, in the past few years, students have really been outspoken about fintech. So of course we have financial services and we have technology, but this emergence of fintech has become really important. So we actually in the past year launched a fintech program. It has a long name. It's like applied research and advanced something in fintech. You can find it on the website. It's led by a couple of really fantastic professors who are experts in blockchain. And then in addition to that, there's a lot of interest in virtual reality. So we recently launched a virtual reality in the art of storytelling class. We've been launching different programming courses like Python and R programming. And in addition to that, we've made a lot of the engineering school classes available to the business school students so that they can really kind of perfect that tech part of the fintech. And then impact investing has been very popular as well. And so we have a lot of different resources for students who are interested in that. Specifically, we have Microlumbia, which is the business school's fund that students actually work on. And it's a really great opportunity for students to work together and to make a lasting social impact.
Wow, okay, so you, in addition to finance, you brought up social impact, you brought up technology, you brought up programming and coding. So this is really interesting because we have this impression, and a lot of students have this impression of Colombia as a pure finance school.
Right.
And I'm very curious to understand from the school's perspective whether you take to that as a positive or whether you think it's a myth, and while it is a finance school, are there other areas that you feel very strongly about as Colombia is a dominant position in?
Absolutely. I think that I hear it so often from students all over the globe who say, I'm not interested in finance. Do you have anything for me? And I think it's such a funny way to put it because of course we do. New York is very finance centric, but if you know New York at all, it's very global and in every way. It's a melting pot, and so is Colombia. So I would say about 25% of our students are working in some kind of financial services, but that leaves a whole 75% of student body pursuing something different. So you'll see about another quarter of our students pursuing management consulting, strategy consulting, and then you have a large cohort of students interested in entrepreneurship, whether it's like about 10 or 15%. Same with technology. Real estate is a really big field. Healthcare is huge. It's, I think, the largest percentage of the United States GDP, and our program is ever expanding. So I think it's very interesting that people feel that it is so finance driven. And I would say maybe 15 years ago, they were absolutely right. But nowadays, you know, the superstars coming out of Colombia aren't just in private equity and corporate finance and investment banking, but you are seeing some fantastic entrepreneurs, some really impressive social enterprises. And yeah, I think that there's something for everyone. And something that is important to understand about the admissions committee is that we really love non-traditional applicants. So we have a Grammy-nominated opera singer in our class. We have a Broadway actor. You know, we have journalists. We have a professional ballet dancer. So there are all types of people in the class, and we find that this is really important to have people from all different backgrounds pursuing all different industries to make a really dynamic learning environment.
Okay, that's very helpful to know. And we see this as a firm. It's validated in the admits we've seen in Colombia. We've had people who are entrepreneurs, people with media background, healthcare, and successfully made it through Colombia and are doing extremely well post their degrees. But when you give me a percentage as high as 75% is non-finance, I think that's a really strong take home. And I hope this encourages a lot of people from non-traditional backgrounds to also look at Colombia very seriously. You know, Nicole, you talked about New York and how New York is associated with finance and hence this impression. What else is it about New York that makes the Colombia experience what it is?
Absolutely. So I would say that New York is my second favorite part of Colombia, the first being the students and the community. But New York makes a huge impact on that MBA experience from what I hear from the students. So there are a lot of things that we do at the business school, and we being the whole business school, not just admissions, to leverage the New York City experience, to leverage the immense amount of talent that is just downtown, a 20-minute, 30-minute train ride away. So we have classes that are project-based or site-based. So we have professors who actually spend their Friday afternoons talking to students about a specific company or a specific industry, and then they take them downtown to meet with executives at firms. So for example, there's we call them immersion seminars, and there's one called Internet Innovation. And so this year they will visit the MBA headquarters. And you think, oh, the MBA, what does that have to do with internet innovation? But they talk a lot about big data and e-commerce. They visit Bloomberg, they visit Facebook and Google, and they're having, you know, conversations about social media and that impact on business. And it's not just, you know, taking a look at where people are working, but sitting down with senior level executives and having maybe a 1 or 2 hour conversation. And it's you, maybe 19 or 20 other students and these senior level executives, and you really get the opportunity to ask them about what what were their successes, what are their challenges, and to get a good idea of what kind of talent they're looking for. And that's really meaningful and valuable for our students. And this often happens in their second semester of their first year. And again, student-led, student-driven. Students wanted this face-to-face contact and experience before going into their summer internship so that they were better prepared. And so that's what we've done. And these immersion seminars span all across the industries. And then also we have 16,000 alums in New York City alone. And as a student, you have access to that alumni base. And so you can reach out and have, you know, a coffee chat with someone at a small startup that you're interested in, or all the way up to a big company. We have alums all over the place. And if we don't have one alum in a specific area, we have hundreds of them. So it's a really great opportunity to have that access to these people. So in such close proximity. And then also having the other schools at the university, like the School of International Public Affairs, the law school, the engineering school, where you can take journalism, social work, the public health, and you can take classes there and you can hear from speakers there. Having the UN downtown, where world leaders are coming into town. You know, the Columbia University does a great job of getting all of the world leaders to come up and speak. So there's all kinds of opportunities to meet and hear from really influential people simply because you're positioned in New York City. Right.
Sure. And another advantage is we have direct flights from India to New York. So that makes your commute time less. So let's let's talk about a final question on, since the admission season is coming up. So one thing you advise students not to do.
Not to do.
Not to do.
That's a really great question. So what I would tell you not to do, because I have so much advice on what to do. I guess I'm going to turn this around a little bit on you.
Sure, sure.
I would tell you not to get to know us. And I think that goes for anyone looking at any top business school, is it would be a mistake for you to not do your research. And not because, well, it could hinder your admission to a school, but you're really doing yourself a disservice if you're not getting to know a school. Because a school in New York versus a school in Boston versus a school on the West Coast are all going to feel different. They're going to be different sizes. They're going to have different focuses. They're going to have different people. They're all going to have great educations, but they're all going to feel a little bit different. And when you are at Columbia, you are in New York City. And while we have a really nice, quieter campus uptown, there's still a lot going on. And some people will really thrive in that environment, where others might thrive in a smaller campus and maybe a more rural area. And so, you know, it's really important to us that not only do we think you could thrive here, but that you feel comfortable in this environment. And that's the only way that you're going to be successful.
Great. And it's terrific that Columbia has actually made the effort to come here to India to actually meet these students. You're aiding in that process of getting to know the school better.
Absolutely.
And we're very grateful for you to come by the office today. And I hope this trip to India is very successful.
And we understand that, I get this question a lot, is it going to hurt me if I'm not able to come to campus?
Yeah.
And the answer is absolutely not. That's why we come to India, so that we have the opportunity to connect with candidates who aren't able to make the trip to New York City.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to hurt you if you don't do some research about Columbia, or you don't try your best to connect with us. But, well, not necessarily hurt you, but we try to make every effort to connect with people all over. And so thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure, and I hope it's been helpful for the candidates that are listening today.
All right, thank you. Have a good day. Thank you.